show you how to play it. But first, let's talk about what you get in the game. So you get the game board, which you see here. You will also get an instruction sheet. There are 8 different salamanders, and each of these salamanders you get 6 of. You have the cards. Each deck of cards has 36 whole steps, 24 half steps, and then 12 specialty cards. The cards come with both whole steps and half steps, or you could print out a set of tones and semitones. There are 8 scale guides, which are optional for you to use. If your student does not know how to build scales, they can use these to help them know how to build scales. Again, we also have this in tones and semitones, as well as whole steps and half steps. There is an I claimed my scales and won success poster that you can take pictures of after the game is finished. And finally, we have 2 different activity sheets. There is the beginner activity sheets where they will color the correct salamanders for major scales, and then there's the advanced activity where the teacher can assign any scale for the student to write, and these also come in tones and semitones. I will show you how to play Salamander Scales, and I will play it with just 2 players. So each player chooses a salamander color, and I will be playing this with the whole steps and half steps, but the exact same gameplay works for tones and semitones. You want to start by shuffling the cards. To start with, deal each player 6 cards. Now I'm going to have these face up, but they can have them in their hands like a normal deck of cards, but I'm just doing this so that way you can see what's going on. If you have 4 or more players playing, start with dealing each player 4 cards instead of 6 cards. Once each player has their cards, then you're going to put face up 3 cards into a draw pile. Now, when a student plays, they can either draw one of these cards that are face up, or they can draw blind here. We are going to say that this is player 1 and this is player 2. So player 1 goes first. Now, the salamander steel can be used at any time in their play as long as it's not a brand new card. So if they had just drawn it from the draw pile and it's brand new, they have to wait until the next turn to play it. Since this is the first turn, they can use it because they didn't draw it from the draw pile. So they're gonna do a salamander steel first, and here's the discard pile, and I'm gonna pretend I can't see. They're gonna draw blind from any opponent's hand that they choose, and then they have to choose what to do. So here it's like, okay, we're building scale, so it's whole step, half step. Then we can do whole step, and then we need another whole step and then half step. So we can draw 3 cards. So we're gonna draw a whole step, half step. Because we drew a card, it instantly gets replaced. So personally, what I would do is I would kind of, like, I've got a whole scale here. So I'll do whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So here's the scale. I've already drawn 1 card, so I can have 2 more left to draw. So I'm gonna start building my next scale and do whole step, whole step. Okay, now I cannot lay down my scale this turn because it's got new cards. Basically, if there's a new card in my hand, I cannot lay it down that turn. So I have to wait until next turn to claim my scale. So this person's turn is over, and then player 2 gets to go. So they have a whole step, half step, a whole step, and they need 2 more whole steps. Well, there's no whole steps on the board, so we're gonna try drawing some blind. That's a great solution. Okay, perfect. So that's 2 cards. So we got whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So again, just for ease of viewing, there's my scale, and then I can draw another card. I don't really want a half step, so I will draw another card. All right, their turn's over. Again, they cannot claim their scale yet because it's a brand new card, so they have to be finished with their turn. So this player goes now, and now they can lay down their scale because it's the second turn that they've had these cards in their hand. So the first thing they do is they lay down their scale, and then they claim any one of these salamanders. Now they can draw their 3 cards. So they've got whole step, whole step. Let's do a half step. And we need whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So let's try drawing blind for the last 2 cards. Okay, we got 1 whole step, that was good. Player 1 turns over, and then player 2 goes again. Now we can lay down this scale and claim any of the spaces, and now we get to draw. So we have a whole step. Let's try for whole step, and then let's do the half step. So that was 2 cards we picked. And then let's draw blind. Yes, we wanted that whole step. Their turn. They don't have enough to do a scale, so they have to draw again. So whole step, half step, whole step. They need 2 whole steps. So let's try drawing blind. Okay, so we've got another scale here. Another major scale. Again, we cannot play it this turn because we just drew these cards, but I will put them all in a pile so that way in my brain I remember that that's a scale. And then we had 1 more left to go. They get to go. It's a whole step, half step. We need more whole steps. So whole step, whole step, whole step, and then we need a half step. So we're going to draw that one. And this is a major scale. Again, cannot be played until next turn. Player 1 goes, they get to lay it on their scale and claim it. Now, it is important to claim connecting ones. So if I claimed this one and this one, when we count up points at the end, that might not be good. So it is a good idea to claim connecting. All right, so once you do this, the play continues with both players until the game board is filled. So they just did their scale, so they get to draw 3 cards. Player 2. Okay, here's the specialty card that is the last half of the scale. So this is a really superpower card, so definitely they want to pick that one. And so they already have whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So they've got their scale. But again, they cannot play it this turn because they've just picked that card. So then they will start building their next scale. This player is going to steal a card, and I'm going to pretend that I'm stealing this blind. Now, they cannot use this card because it's new in their hand. So they have a whole step, half step, then whole step, half step. So here's a major scale, but they have to wait until next time. And then they can draw their 3 cards like normal. They'll use a Salamander Scale first, and let's say they steal it back. Let's just make it fun. Again, they can't use it because it's fresh in their hand. Whole step, half step, whole step. They're missing a whole step. Do Salamander Steal. Steal this. Cannot lay down this scale yet because it's fresh in their hand. Draw 3 cards. All right, we've run out of cards, so we're going to take the discard pile and shuffle it and keep playing. All right, the last scale is claimed. So now you have to count up points. First, you get a point for every salamander on the board. So the red salamander gets 4 points and the blue spotted salamander gets 5 points. Then for 2 connected, you get a bonus 2 points. Or if there's 3 connected, you get a bonus 4 points. 4 connected is a bonus 6 points, and 5 connected is a bonus 8 points. So the red salamander gets 4 for their 4 red salamanders on the board, and then they have 3 connected, which is 4 points. So they get 8 points total. The blue spotted salamander has 5 on the board, so they get 5 for their salamanders. And then all of these are connected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. It is not connected this way, so you have to look at the lines to see where they're connected, because they aren't all connected. So yes, there's a way to do it where it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 connected. So that is 8 plus their original 5 points. So the blue spotted salamander ends up with 13 points, and the red salamander ends up with 8 points, so the blue spotted salamander won. Now this is a way that even if you find the most scales, you might not win, because you might find the most scales but not have connected yours. So the blue spotted salamander, I was a little bit more strategic in trying to block off the red. So that was why the blue salamander won, because I added a little strategy there. So that's just like a little bonus thing that you could do for fun for your students. Those who don't know strategy is totally fine. They're still gonna have fun playing the game. And if it becomes an issue where you have a very strategic player and a not strategic player, you can just do it with who can get the most on the board. Once you have finished Salamander Scales, take a picture with the winner, and if you post on social media, tag us at Music Game Club on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Don't forget, you can send your students home with a worksheet. I hope you and your students have fun building major scales with Salamander Scales.